Have you ever felt like there's a part of you that you just don't understand? A side that pops up unexpectedly, maybe making you say something you regret, or feel an intense emotion that seems to come out of nowhere? If so, you might have already met your shadow self. Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. In fact, understanding it is one of the most powerful things you can do for your personal growth. So, what exactly is the shadow self? This concept was made famous by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. He described the shadow as the unknown, dark side of the personality. It's essentially a big, invisible container where we stuff all the parts of ourselves that we've learned to reject or deny. Think about it. From a young age, we're taught what's good and bad. Maybe we were told not to be angry, not to be selfish, not to be lewd. So, we learn to suppress those traits to fit in and be accepted. These rejected parts don't just disappear, though. They get pushed into the unconscious, into our personal shadow. This shadow isn't just a collection of negative traits like anger, greed, or jealousy. It can also hold positive qualities that we were discouraged from expressing. Perhaps you were told that being creative wasn't a practical way to live, so you suppressed your artistic side. Maybe you were taught that being assertive was bossy, so you hid your natural leadership abilities. These hidden gems, these powerful, positive traits, also live in the shadow, waiting to be This is what Jung called our golden shadow. Now, you might be thinking, if it's all hidden, how do I even know it's there? Great question. The shadow makes itself known through projections. Have you ever had a really strong, almost irrational reaction to someone? Maybe you can't stand a coworker who seems overly confident, or you get incredibly annoyed by a friend who is always late. Often, what bothers us so much in others is a reflection of a part of ourselves that we've denied. That intense irritation is your shadow waving a big sign, saying, "Hey, look over here. This is part of you, too." Another way the shadow shows up is through self-sabotage. You have a big goal. You're working hard, and then suddenly you find yourself procrastinating, making excuses, or picking a fight with a loved one. This could be your shadow at work, afraid of the success or change that you're striving for. It's trying to keep you in your comfort zone. Even if that zone isn't making you happy, it's not trying to hurt you. It's just operating on old programming that once kept you safe. So, the big question is, what do we do about it? We don't fight it. Fighting the shadow only makes it stronger. The goal is to do what's called shadow work. This is the process of consciously bringing these hidden parts of yourself into the light of your awareness. It's about integration, not elimination. You're not trying to get rid of your anger or your fear. You're learning to understand where it comes from and how to express it in a healthy way. One of the most effective ways to start shadow work is through journaling. Ask yourself some direct questions. What qualities in others really push my buttons? When do I feel like an imposter? What am I most afraid of people discovering about me? Write down whatever comes to mind without judgment. The key here is radical honesty with yourself. Don't censor your thoughts. The page is a safe space to explore these uncomfortable feelings. Another powerful tool is mindfulness and self-observation. The next time you feel a strong emotional reaction, instead of immediately acting on it or pushing it away, just pause, take a breath. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? What triggered this? By observing your emotions without judgment, you start to untangle them from the story you've built around them. You create a space between the feeling and your reaction, and in that space, you have a choice. It's also incredibly helpful to explore your creative side. Art, music, dance, these are languages of the soul. They allow the unconscious to express itself in ways that words sometimes can't. You don't have to be a great artist. Just doodle, hum a tune, or move your body to music. Let whatever wants to come out. This can be a gentle and beautiful way to connect with those disowned parts of yourself. Now, it's important to say that shadow work isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable to face the parts of ourselves we've spent a lifetime avoiding. You might uncover feelings of shame, guilt, or sadness. That's why it's so important to be compassionate with yourself throughout this process. Treat yourself like you would a good friend who is going through a tough time. Be patient. This is a journey, not a race. If things feel too overwhelming, it is always a good idea to seek support from a therapist or a counselor who is trained in this kind of work. But why go through all this trouble? Because the rewards are immense. When you integrate your shadow, you become more whole. The energy you are using to suppress these parts of yourself is freed up. You'll likely feel a huge sense of relief and authenticity. You're no longer pretending to be someone you're not. Your relationships can improve dramatically because you're no longer projecting your own issues onto others. You see people more clearly, and you understand yourself better. Embracing your shadow also unlocks incredible creativity and personal power. Remember that golden shadow? When you reclaim those positive traits you suppressed, you gained access to new strengths and talents you never knew you had. The anger you once feared might transform into a powerful passion for justice. The fear you hid could become a source of profound courage. You become a more complete, balanced, and resilient human being. You are no longer living a half-life, but a full one. So, the shadow isn't an enemy to be defeated. It's a hidden treasure chest within you. It holds the keys to your wholeness, your creativity, and your most authentic self. The journey into the shadow is a journey back to you. It takes courage, but it is one of the most rewarding adventures you will ever undertake. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration today. If this resonated with you, I'd love it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe for more content on personal growth and self-awareness. What are your thoughts on the shadow self? Share them in the comments below. I can't wait to read them. Until next time, be kind to yourself.